Today I'm going to be showing you the keyframe stretcher in Davinci Resolve. This is going to be especially useful if you're making your own presets in Fusion. So without further ado, let's get to the tutorial. I got this little text animation over here where the text just comes up and comes back down, and basically this clip right here is without a keyframe stretcher. As you can see, when I play it, it goes smoothly and it ends where it's supposed to. But when I extend the clip now, logically you would think that the end should stretch all the way to the end. But as we play it, you can see that it already ends over here and the rest of it is just blank. On the other hand, the second clip already has a keyframe stretcher. So when I play this, it will now go and end at the very end of the clip. And when I extend it, you can see that the text is now back on the screen. So when I play it, it will just play at the beginning. Then for the middle part, it will just stay on screen. And at the very end, it will go back down. And it doesn't matter how long it is. It just has to be long enough for both animations to play. So let's actually set up this animation, and I think if I show you this example, you will then get it and you can use it in your own projects from there on. So let's open up the effects tab, let's go to titles, and you can also do this with just Fusion compositions, but on titles, it's just the easiest ways to show it. Let's keyframe some motion over here. Let's go to layout so we can move our text up and down, and let's actually go to, let's say, frame 30, because that's the spot where we want the text to end up. So let's make a keyframe on the position over here, go back to frame 0, and now make another keyframe. Now go down with the Y position to go all the way down until it's just out of the screen to something like minus 0.05. And now, as you can see, we have the basic starting animation over here. Now, the important thing before you make your ending animation is just to leave a little bit of space for your text to actually stay on screen. I usually like to do 10 frames between the starting and ending animation, but you could also just do 1 frame, for example. I just like to do 10 frames because when I'm doing multiple effects, it's just easier to see on the timeline itself. So let's go to frame 40. Let's put another keyframe there. And now, since we did an opening animation of 30 frames, let's go 30 frames for 40. That means going all the way to 70. And now let's go, for example, up. So we change it up a bit, and let's go just out of the screen like that. I don't really care about the precise numbers. And this animation should work really fine, but let's make it a little bit smoother. If you don't know what I'm going to be doing here, I made a complete video going about smooth animations, so I'm just going to speed run it over here, but if you want a full explanation, the video is going to be somewhere over here. By the way, I recently found out that in the spline graph, which you by the way open up here, you can zoom into it by just hitting Command R, and now this magnification glass will show up and you can just highlight the area and it will actually zoom into it. I'm just going to select it, hit S, and now I want an opening curve, so we are going to do something like that. Yeah, that looks nice. Let's zoom out again. Let's hit Command R, zoom to the other graph, select these two, do the same exact thing, and now I want to move this one down here. And the second one, while holding Option, by the way, I cannot move up and down, so I'm just going to move it somewhere along these lines. And when we take a look at it, just make sure, by the way, that your stationary time that you have between the opening and ending animation is completely stationary. If this line over here isn't straight, it's going to do some weird stuff. So if it isn't, just highlight it and press L, and that will help. So let's take a look at our animation. As you can see, it flies in and flies out, but it's not doing it for the rest of the clip. This is where the keyframe stretcher comes in. So I'm just going to highlight our template over here, hit Shift Space. This is going to open up the menu. And as you can see, keyframe stretcher, hit enter to add it, and the keyframe stretcher has been added now, and it doesn't really do anything because it has the default preset. The deal with these numbers is super simple once you get it. So we can take a look at our template now, and as you can see, our first frame is at 0 and our last frame is at 70. That means when I go to the keyframe stretcher, our source start is going to be at 0 and our source end is going to be at 70. So I'm just going to put that in, and now with these two numbers, you just want to go again into your template and take a look at your keyframes that you have on your timeline. The part that we actually want to stretch is the part where the text is on screen. That means from frame 30 to frame 40. And I'm just going to open up the keyframe stretcher, go here, and say 30 and go over here and say 40. Now you can see that this is our whole timeline and the keyframe stretcher is already doing its magic. So we have the opening animation over here and now it's stretching that in between part throughout the whole clip until it has those 30 frames at the end left where it's going to do the out animation. So now when I go back to the template and quickly just add some motion blur so it looks a bit nicer, I'm just going to add a little bit and go back to the edit tab, you can see that this is our text plus node. And when I now play it, it will go up. And now it will just stay there and go back to pretty much nowhere. So if I now change the length of this clip, you can see that our animation also adjusted. And you can also duplicate this clip and do the same thing. The only thing where the keyframe stretcher kind of breaks, and I don't really currently know how to repair it, if you do, please leave it in the comments for the rest of us. When you adjust the front of the clip, it actually completely just breaks and that's some weird stuff. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today. Hopefully your presets just got a lot better and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.